Good evening, you're watching India First. I'm Gaurav Sawant. Two major developments dominating headlines today. The Delhi police has told the Supreme Court that the 2020 Delhi riots was not spontaneous. The 2020 riots in Delhi were part of coordinated regime change operations. A very major statement for the Delhi police to make, and that too in writing in the Supreme Court of India. India Today has accessed the 389-page affidavit which opposes bail plea of accused Umar, Khalid, Sharjeel, Imam and others. Delhi police investigators say that the protests against the Citizenship Amendment Act, they were weaponized to destabilize the government and damage India's global image and territorial integrity, or words to that effect. We get you that big India Today special report. But first, we turn our attention to Mumbai, where there was a chilling hostage crisis. And this hostage crisis unfolded inside a studio in Powai. 17 young children, little children, some as young as 10 and 15, they were held at gunpoint for hours by that man you see on your television screen. Apparently, he's been identified as Rohit Arya. He took a dozen plus children hostage. He claimed that he was calling them for an audition. He even recorded a video and released it when the children were held hostage. So the Mumbai police launched a massive operation, a rescue operation. Mumbai police personnel, they entered through a bathroom window near the studio to gain entry into that area where the suspect had taken little children hostage. And there, they tried to first engage in a conversation with the accused. When he picked up a weapon, there was an encounter. Police successfully rescued the children. The children are all safe. The accused, identified as Rohit Arya, he was shot at after apparently he opened fire. He was rushed to hospital. That time he was bleeding, and that was live on television when he was being taken to hospital. Police later said that he succumbed to his injuries in the hospital, and we'll get you more details on this big story. India Today now gets you chilling details of that hostage crisis in Mumbai this afternoon in Powai. Police said the accused was armed. He also claimed he had chemicals and a lighter. He reportedly threatened to open fire at the police. Negotiators tried to calm him, but when talks failed, he opened fire at the police. And this was when there were multiple children in that room who were being held hostage. The weapon, police say, later turned out to be an air gun. But in that moment, they couldn't afford to take a chance with 17 children trapped inside. And Rohit was shot at. The bullet caught him on the right side of his chest. That image that you see there, this was a little after 4 this afternoon. This is the time that this accused was being taken to hospital. The police have seized the weapon. They've also seized the chemicals that he said he had at the scene. They've been sent for forensic examination. The force is standing by. Police say the action was important because the commando team leader, he had to take a split-second decision. The moment he saw the accused pick up a weapon, there was no way he could then decide whether this was an air gun or a real weapon, and especially with a dozen plus, with 17 children there. Every child is safe. The investigators now say that they're looking into the background of the accused who died in hospital.
"17 children, all safe tonight." But for almost an hour, Mumbai lived through a nightmare straight out of a Bollywood movie. On Thursday afternoon, the city watched in disbelief as a man held school children hostage inside a studio. The man behind the horror, Rohit Arya, is now dead. Arya allegedly opened fire at the police during the rescue operation. They returned fire. Arya was hit, rushed to hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries.
मैं रोहित आर्या, सुसाइड करने की जगह मैंने एक प्लान बनाया और कुछ बच्चों को इधर हॉस्टेज रखा है।
Arya had released a video before the police moved in to rescue the children. Proclaiming himself not a terrorist, Arya claimed he had moral and ethical demands and wanted answers, not money.
मेरे कुछ ज़्यादा डिमांड्स नहीं है, बहुत सिंपल डिमांड्स है, बहुत मॉरल डिमांड्स है, बहुत एथिकल डिमांड्स है। और मेरे कुछ सवाल है, मुझे कुछ लोगों से बात करनी है, उनको सवाल पूछने हैं, उनके जवाब पर अगर मुझे काउंटर क्वेश्चन है तो मुझे काउंटर क्वेश्चन पूछना है। ना मैं टेररिस्ट हूँ, ना मेरी बहुत बड़ी पैसों की डिमांड है, कुछ भी पैसों की डिमांड तो है ही नहीं, इमोरल तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं है।
Sources tell India Today that Arya ran a YouTube channel and had called children to the studio for what he claimed was a web series audition. According to eyewitnesses, all the children were from outside Mumbai brought in for the audition.
ये खुद ऑडिशन करता था, ऑडिशन के लिए बुलाता था, बस इतना ही मालूम है। बाकी इसका क्या डिमांड था वो पुलिस को मालूम, लेकिन इतने कम समय में पुलिस ने आके बहुत अच्छा काम किया है।
पुलिस वाले ने हम लोग को अंदर नहीं जाने दिया, पुलिस वाले ने अपना काम मिशन काम किया और उनको बाहर लिया। पहले जो आर्या करके आदमी है ना, उनको बाहर लिया।
A city shaken but thankful that every child came home safe. Bureau Report, India Today.
There's some more information that's just filtering in. India Today has been able to get some details on the grievances the accused had in the Powai hostage case. So this accused Rohit Arya, apparently for months, he kept claiming that he was the original creator of a school improvement concept that was adopted by the Maharashtra government, but he wasn't given credit for it. He also then went on to say that he lived on the 9th floor of a building in Chembur and that room belonged to a relative who was living overseas for some time. Rohit left the building around 9 this morning. Police are currently inside that building. I quickly want to bring in India Today's Mustafa Sheikh for more on this. So give me details. When did this man shoot this video? Where was this video put out? And what more do we know of his grievances?
Well, yes, this person seems to have some credentials on the film industry of directing 2 movies and then later coming up with a concept of cleaning schools, meeting the government, getting a government contract in 2022 and then going on to fast, claiming that he has not been paid dues, he has not been given credit for the work he has done. He fasts and in Pune he is hospitalized due to his fasting. The minister assures him, the then Minister of School Education assures him that his payment will be made. The government changes, Deepak Kesakar doesn't become a minister again, and now cut to this Powai studio where he is taking rehearsals for last 3 days of children between 10 to 15, and suddenly on this morning, the students, 17 students who go in for the rehearsals don't come out for lunch, and what comes out is a video on the YouTube channel of Arya. He has also sent it to many people or media people who he was in touch with, and that video gets circulated. The parents panic, they gather outside the studio. The police understands that this is a hostage situation. First, initially, after seeing the video, they try to negotiate with Arya, but he seems adamant on his demands. The police knows that being 17 children's life at stake, they don't have much time to spare. They do a force entry. When they see a gun, they fire on the right side of the chest. Arya falls, brought to hospital, treated, but declared dead. Back to you.
Okay, there's more breaking news that's coming in. We now have some more information about the probe post the encounter. The investigations in the Rohit Arya case have now been transferred to the Mumbai Police Crime Branch for an impartial investigation. Now, Arya claimed he was owed some dues and he wasn't paid those dues. So he set up apparently an elaborate plot where children were called in for auditioning and those children were then taken hostage because he thought that's the way he'll reach out to the administration and get his demands met. I once again want to bring in Mustafa Sheikh for more on the story. There was some issue with where he was staying, some money that was owed to him there. There are police who are already at that Chembur multi-storied building. What more do we know of what's been recovered from his house? His mental state, had he shared his state of mind or plans with anybody? In this video, he says, even if I fall, there are others who will carry my campaign forward. Or was this just an empty threat?
Well, if you see the trajectory of this event, it seems that Arya was protesting against the government for non-release of payment. Now only his family can confirm, his wife or people related to him, his kin, that whether it's the same incident or same issue because of which he has taken this step, and who was the last people who Arya was in contact with. He was staying for the last 8 days in Chembur at a relative's house, but that's not his own house. So the police is studying the trajectory of this entire event. What we know, the last is of pending dues from the government contract. That is the real issue or not is something the family of the accused who he has spoken to last can confirm. The other important thing, his claims about more people involved, is something which is being verified by the police, and the steps he has taken, it seems that he has planned this entire incident, and how he was able to become a casting director, and how he got in touch with these children to come for auditions, how he made it believe that this is a genuine audition going on. These are things which will have to be probed by the Mumbai Police Crime Branch. The Crime Branch investigates the firing incidences. In this case, the firing has taken place, and hence, by default, the case has been transferred from Mumbai Crime Branch. Back to you.
Mustafa, keep tracking that story. I will come back to you for more. I now want to bring into this conversation Dr. Vikram Singh, former Director General of Police, for more on this. Sir, your assessment of this hostage situation and the police opening fire. The accused only had access to an air gun. So did the Mumbai police, in your appreciation, overreact? They shot at him, but somewhere close to the chest.
Good evening, Gaurav ji. I would say that I would first like to compliment the Mumbai police for what they have done. Now the second point is, in a hostage situation where panic is writ large on 17 to 20 families, the school owners, the principal and the teaching staff, I would say it is not an overreaction. In such a situation, a hostage situation, I think it can be an argument that perhaps the quantum of force is a little more than was justified. But if I were there, perhaps I would say that the police acted in a manner that was very responsible to contain the audacious and the criminal intent of Rohit Arya. Just imagine the manner in which he conducted the entire hostage situation, calling the children and infants for audition and then using the school premises. I may have a grievance, but does not entitle me to hold children hostage. That is absolutely a criminal and a highly irresponsible act. And then to send threats that if this does not happen, I'll commit suicide and things like that. I think he's, apart from requiring psychological intervention, he also would have been a narcissist. Being a YouTuber, he called, and that exposes a very devious mind with a criminal intent. Now that he's dead, but I would certainly say the Mumbai police has been accused of overreaction, but I would say that I support the action taken by the Mumbai police, because that put to naught the fact that the panic and the unease and the disquiet in the families, the school premises, and I would say that I would compliment them for what they have done. There certainly is not an overreaction, and the investigation is on.
So you think it's not overreaction? Okay, an investigation by the Mumbai Police Crime Branch is currently underway. We are still waiting for more information to flow in, and we'll track that story very closely. But for the moment, I want to shift focus to our top story, and this is an India Today exclusive. The Delhi police, in its affidavit before the Supreme Court, opposing the bail plea of Umar, Khalid, Sharjeel, Imam, Miran, Haidar and Gulfisha, Fatima and others in the 2020 Delhi riots conspiracy case, has described the violence as part of a coordinated regime change operation. The affidavit has been accessed by India Today. It states that the riots were not spontaneous. They were meticulously planned, and that was an attempt to destabilize India's internal harmony and India's international standing. The 389-page affidavit says the unrest was designed to strike at the sovereignty and integrity of India by weaponizing dissent against the CAA, or Citizenship Amendment Act. India Today's Srishti Ojha brings you this exclusive report.
Fresh twist in 2020 Delhi riots conspiracy case. Calling the violence a calculated conspiracy to facilitate regime change in a detailed affidavit. The Delhi police opposed bail for student activists booked under UAPA. India Today exclusively accessed the affidavit file in the Supreme Court. The police claimed that the Northeast Delhi violence wasn't a spontaneous outburst, but a pre-planned, coordinated conspiracy to destabilize the nation. Investigators allege the anti-CAA protests were weaponized, not to express dissent, but to create disruption, draw global attention, and portray India as persecuting minorities. From speeches to encrypted chats to mobilization plans, the police say it has evidence showing the violence was scripted, seeded, and triggered. The affidavit names Umar, Khalid, and Sharjeel Imam as key planners. According to police, Khalid allegedly pushed the Chakka Jam blueprint and even suggested mobilizing women and stocking weapons. Sardar Imam, they claim, was the architect of first phase disruptions, pushing for blockades across Delhi. The police stressed this wasn't just Delhi. Pointing to similar flare-ups across states, they called the riots part of a pan-India effort. The police argued that under UAPA, jail, not bail, is the rule. The delay in trial, the police claim, is because the accused are filing frivolous applications and dragging hearings. The Supreme Court will hear the matter on Friday. The question, after nearly 5 years in custody, do the accused walk out on bail or continue to stay behind bars as the trial moves forward? With Shrishti Ojha, Bureau Report, India Today.
Let me take you through some of the startling revelations made by Delhi police in their affidavit in the Supreme Court. The Delhi police say the 2020 riots were orchestrated. They were planned as a regime change operation. Investigators claim to have gathered ocular, documentary, and technical evidence showing deep-rooted conspiracy engineered on communal lines. The violence was timed to coincide with US President Donald Trump's visit to India. It aimed to attract international attention and portray India in poor light, or words to that effect. The CAA issue was carefully chosen to serve as a radicalizing catalyst camouflaged as peaceful protests. Prosecution claims unrest broke out around the same time in parts of Delhi, in parts of Uttar Pradesh, Assam, West Bengal, Karnataka, Kerala, Maharashtra, and Bihar. Could this be spontaneous? Or was someone pulling the strings? And do we have the wider conspiracy? Remember, there have been regime change operations in India's neighborhood. Was 2020 the template? Joining me on India First to decode the police affidavit, Dr. Vikram Singh, former DGP UP and someone who's tracked investigations in this case very closely in Uttar Pradesh. Raghav Avasthi is an advocate and a political analyst. Kapil Madan is an advocate in the Supreme Court, again a political analyst. Atikur Rahman joins us on this broadcast. He's a Muslim scholar and researcher in Islamic studies. But I first want to cut across to my colleague Srishti Ojha, breaking the story exclusively on India Today, on India First. Srishti, what corroborative evidence do the police have? Startling charges they've leveled, but do they have corroborative evidence?
Gaurav, since 2020, we've seen the Delhi police put forth a very strong case, claiming that they have a very strong case against the accused as far as the Delhi riots case is concerned. If we talk about this particular larger conspiracy case in today's affidavit specifically, the highlight seems to be the regime change blueprint argument that the Delhi police has come up with. But if we talk about the prosecution's case since the beginning, the core of the case, the core of Delhi police case, as far as Delhi riots Delhi riots are concerned, has been that there was an attempt by the accused to destabilize the Indian state, and this was done through an orchestrated civil unrest, which now they say also included a foreign-inspired regime change model. And how did they execute it? According to the Delhi police, they executed it under the facade of a constitutional protest. And this is exactly why, on some level, they're also opposing, and they have been opposing the bail pleas of all these accused so strongly. They have come up, they have clearly stated in their affidavit, even before the top court, that Delhi riots that took place in 2020, they weren't a spontaneous protest. They were part of an organized regime change operation. according to them, they have enough evidence both in terms of documentary and technical evidence, which links all the accused to a deep rooted conspiracy which was engineered on communal lines. If we look at the affidavit, if we look at the charge sheets and all the documents that Delhi police has filed even earlier, they have relied on WhatsApp chats, encrypted WhatsApp chats, some technical data, a lot of chats that they have recovered, speeches. They've even referred to the pamphlets that were distributed by the accused now during the riots back then from
Okay.
December 2019 to 2020. So that is the evidence which the Delhi police is relying on, and according to them, they have a very clear-cut case. And considering the cases filed under stringent provisions of UAPA, according to them, the accused have absolutely no chance of proving a case in their favor to be able to get bail in any case
Stay with me.
whatsoever.
Okay, stay with me and let's take this step by step. Let me also draw in Dr. Vikram Singh into this. Dr. Singh, we've seen regime change operations in India's neighborhood. We've reported on what happened in Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and if you were to talk about, that so-called Jasmine Revolution that took place in West Asia, the regime change operation that took place in Egypt, does the template appear to be similar? Your assessment of the Delhi police affidavit, sir?
Absolutely. The 389-page affidavit speaks all, and the evidence is overwhelming. The toolkit presence is absolutely clear. There is no element of doubt in it. When was the last time that you saw that the agitators carrying tricolors and then timing it in a manner that the head of state is visiting Delhi? Number two, on one hand, you say that it is a peaceful democratic protest. On the other hand, you have the likes of Tahir Hussain storing mechanized catapults, petrol bombs, Molotov cocktails, and then attacking and killing policemen, attacking police women, attacking innocent women and children. Gauravji, this was well calibrated, thought out, planned, and executed in a very villainous manner. And I would compliment the Delhi police for collecting the evidence, both digital, field evidence, videography. In the face of this overwhelming videographic evidence, I don't think, and I totally believe what the Delhi police say, that jail, not bail, should be the charter as far as a person is accused of UAPA. I take you back to Sharjeel when he said that wring the chicken's neck and hold the country at ransom. Well, such people have no business to be out on bail, and they have a pedigree that goes back to Simi days. And then I would say Tahir Hussain, Marine Haider, Gulfisha Fateh, and these are the people who have been orchestrating, planning, and executing what appears to be the most insidious right that they should be out on bail at all. I strongly would recommend that they should never be out on bail, and the harshest possible punishment should be given to them.
So let me bring in Atikur Rahman and Kapil Madan one by one into this conversation, and Raghav Avasthi. Okay, Mr. Madan, I want you to respond to the Delhi police affidavit that lays the blame squarely on the door of the accused for the delay in the process. The affidavit says, and I quote, "The petitioners systematically delayed trial proceedings through frivolous applications and coordinated non-cooperation." The affidavit describes their conduct as brazen abuse of process, claiming the delay in framing charges and starting the trial was caused by the accused themselves. The delay was not because of the actions of the investigative agencies, sir.
Now, Gaurav, let me begin by saying, and I'll make a very responsible statement. The arguments made in the affidavit and the theory that this was a larger operation aimed at regime change at the behest of foreign forces. I say that this is not even worth the paper on which it is written. Let me just give you a context why I say so. The moment you make an allegation and you say that there are larger forces involved, there are foreign forces involved, then since you have invoked the section of conspiracy, the first question the court will ask you is that who is the person at the behest of which this was done? To my understanding and to my knowledge, I'm happy to be corrected. I have, seen the list of accused, how many accused were there. There is no foreigner who has been named either in the charge sheet. There is no foreigner who is named either in this affidavit. Now, it is one thing to say that this is a foreign conspiracy orchestrated by somewhere else. But people can make stories, right? The court, our system, our judicial function doesn't function like that. You need to specifically say that who was that foreign person at the behest of which this happened. That's my point number one. Let me give you a point number two. The point number two is where the affidavit alleges that the accused have been delaying their trial, and on what premise they make this argument is that the accused has been seeking, papers, by way of filing application under section 207 of CRPC. And let me tell you, as a person who practices criminal law myself, I have seen prosecution filing load of documents, and in fact even the courts sometimes find it extremely difficult to understand what is the document that they want to rely, what is the document that they don't want to rely. So it is a safeguard, it's a constitutional safeguard that the prosecution, if they are relying on truckload of documents, you yourself are saying, there are digital data, digital records, WhatsApp stories, this etc., then the accused should have right to analyze everything so that they can prepare their defense accordingly. To say that if the accused is exercising its right to get documents and to conclude that they are delaying the trial is preposterous, to say at the least. Now, my point number third. In UAPA,
So let me
the
try and
law
bring in
states-
Raghav Avasthi to respond.
Hold on. Raghav, I'll just take 30 seconds. In UAPA, law is clear. I understand 43 is that the accused will need to show that he has not committed the offense. At the same time, the Supreme Court has given several judgments. Justice Gawai's judgment is there, who is the Chief Justice, who says if prosecution does not have wherewithal to complete the trial in a speedy manner, the bar of 43D will not apply, and this will infringe.
Fair enough. So
right
that will
to
be tried in
life.
courts of law, sir. But
So
on
it's
evidence
been
that
5
is
years
there,
at the stage of charge. It's been 5 years at the stage of charge, and more than 900 witnesses have been named. Can you reasonably comprehend how much time the trial will take? It will take at least
Raghav
20
Avasthi,
years.
respond. Also respond to the
So I
point being made
think
that process becomes the punishment for the accused. How would you respond to allegations that the accused are being denied
first of
due
all, I agree
process
with
in
my
this
friend
case?
Mr. Madan when he says that under the UAPA, jail is indeed the rule and bail is the exception. As far as the delay in the trial is concerned, we need to find out as to who is it at whose behest the trial is being delayed. I think as far as Umar Khalid is concerned, there were some statements that were made by our outgoing retired Justice Chandrachud, who had spoken about how his lawyers kept hunting for a suitable bench.
Yes.
Secondly, the merits of the issue are such that I will not be surprised if the courts take a very conservative approach. Sharjeel's Imam's speech about severing the chicken's neck from the rest of the country, as Mr. Singh had pointed out, was broadcast everywhere. And if you look at this man's older Facebook posts, he has talked about how the nation state should be destroyed and how the Pakistani cricket team should be supported. And he had also gone after people for supporting Durga Puja. Similarly, there are statements that Umar Khalid has also made. Umar Khalid has also said very clearly that he wants for the Kashmiris not Azadi in India, but Azadi from India. And there is absolutely no doubt that the Delhi riots were a very large conspiracy. I was, in fact, when I was doing a show for your channel, I was almost lynched by a murderous mob. I'm not going to pretend. I mean, of course, one has to speak as a lawyer, but I'm not going to pretend that these people had some sort of bona fide intent. Yes, the intention was to destabilize, and everything was timed in order to coincide with Donald Trump's visit to India.
So,
And
but
as
these are
far as the
charges that still
delayed
need to
trial
be
is concerned,
proven.
my friend, I'll just respond to my friend Mr. Madan because he was very gracious to allow me some time. So, what I would like to say is this: Justice Gawai's observations are all well and good. Having said that, we have to apply those observations to the facts and circumstances of this particular case. The doctrine of stare decisis works in a manner wherein you have to basically show as to how the factual context in which the observations were made in one particular judgment is identical or at least analogous to the factual
And in
situation
this
in the case
instance,
at
I
hand.
just want to go by what the High Court also said, Atikur Rahman. The High Court denying bail, it noted in the conspectus of the allegations leveled, it emerges that the role of the appellants, which is Sharjeel, Imam and Umar Khalid, prima facie, the charges are grave in the entire conspiracy, having delivered inflammatory speeches on communal lines to instigate mass mobilization of members of the Muslim community. Atikur Rahman. So the charges are extremely grave against the accused.
Gaurav, the audio is too bad, but whatever I could gather from what you said. See, Gaurav, we are arguing on a case wherein these, people who are under arrest since 5 years, they have challenged a particular law called CAA passed by the central government. And the same central government is now, in the words of the police, Delhi police, which comes under the central government and Mr. Amit Shah, the Home Minister, they have, leveled the charges. And the first time we are coming with across the word that regime change. And this regime change is echoed by some of the channels and you too, giving the examples of Bangladesh and Sri Lanka and things here and there. Now tell me one thing, Gaurav. Even if these student leaders are having a conspicuous, charges of labeling a conspiracy against the state, does not our constitution give us the liberty to individual citizens to apply their minds against the regime which is in power, having ultra virus constitutional measures against individuals? Mr. Vikram Singh should explain to us that individual rights are guaranteed in the constitution against the arbitrariness of the state, not the other way around, Gaurav. So even if the courts are deliberating on these charges, even then the bail should be granted by the courts immediately. 5 years
सर
is
आप बोल रहे
too a
हो
bit long.
कि स्टूडेंट होके बोलेगा भारत तेरे टुकड़े होंगे एंड दैट इज हिज राइट. वो स्टूडेंट होके बोलेगा हम सिलीगुड़ी कॉरिडोर पे भारत का गला काट देंगे और वर्ड्स टू दैट इफेक्ट, और हम बोलेंगे वाह 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 वाह, डेमोक्रेसी में बोलना अलाउड है.
Is India just a fragile republic? 75 long years into our very, very, very strong democratic institutions. We have the courts, the police, we have the army. Is it so fragile that some student leaders will say that Bharat mere tukde ho gaye, which was wrong? Which was wrong. It is
और वो
not
चिकन्स नेक
established
को काट
that-
दो, आप सिलीगुड़ी कॉरिडोर पे भारत को काट दो. I can understand a Pakistani saying that. I can understand a Bangladeshi saying that. Can I understand an Indian Muslim saying that? Or any Indian saying that?
Security forces. We are not that fragile, Gaurav. It can't happen. It can't happen.
Let me get Dr. Vikram Singh to respond to this. Can any Indian say, भारत के टुकड़े कर दो, सिलीगुड़ी कॉरिडोर चिकन्स नेक काट दो? And before I get Dr. Vikram Singh, I want you to listen. I want you to listen to this. I want you to listen so that our viewers listen to it. Our viewers should listen so that they know कि किनकी हम आरती उतारना चाहते हैं. हम इनकी आरती के थाल सजाएं ऐसे लोगों के लिए. सुनिए
पहले भी शायद दर्ज कर चुका हूँ. 5 लाख लोग हमारे पास हो ऑर्गेनाइज्ड, तो हम हिंदुस्तान और नॉर्थ ईस्ट को परमानेंटली कट कर सकते हैं. पर परमानेंटली नहीं तो कम से कम 1 आध महीने के लिए तो कट कर ही सकते हैं. मतलब इतना मवाद डालो पटरियों पर, रोड पे, उनको हटाने में 1 महीना लगे, है कि नहीं? जाए एयरफोर्स से. असम को काटना हमारी जिम्मेदारी है. असम और इंडिया कट के अलग हो जाए, तभी ये हमारी बात सुनेंगे. असम में जो मुसलमानों का हाल है आपको पता है. सीए नाफिज हो चुका है, वहाँ डिटेंशन कैंप में लोग डाले जा रहे हैं, है ना? और वहां तो खैर कत्लेआम चल रहे हैं. 6-8 महीने पता चलेगा सारे बंगालियों को मार दिया गया, हिंदू हो या मुसलमान. ठीक है, तो अगर हमें असम की मदद करनी है तो हमें असम का रास्ता बंद करना होगा फौज के लिए.
Dr. Vikram Singh, put your hand on your heart. Tell me, is this acceptable?
I put my hand on my heart and on my honor I can swear, कौन किसके टुकड़े करेगा ये एक अच्छी तरीके से कान खोल के सब लोग समझ ले. ये कोई मजाक नहीं है कि आपने जिसका चाहे टुकड़े करने की कोशिश कर दी. This is a Bharat that is awake, and there will be consequences for those who nurture such negative and malignant sentiments about India and my motherland. I have great respect for my brother Atikur Rahman Sahab. Words of profound wisdom, but it's my painful duty to contradict him today. The same law and the constitution that he is in with by way of individual liberty, under the same constitution, the police have a duty to perform, and to suit it that those who are mouthing such anti-national slogans and sloganeering, sending incendiary messages, there should be consequences for them, not only the UAPA. They are fortunate that it was the Delhi police. I
Atikur
wish,
Rahman, put your hand on your heart. Put your hand on your heart and tell me, is this correct? What that man said? 5 लाख मुसलमान खड़े हो जाए, भारत को काट देंगे असम में.
Gaurav, I
Atikur
don't have
Rahman
the
साहब, ये
audio.
बिल्कुल ही बर्दाश्त
Can you
नहीं.
listen
Now
to
you
me,
can't hear
Gaurav?
me. Sir, I can hear you, sir. मैं तो आपकी दिल की आवाज सुन लेता हूं, सर. आप क्या बात कर रहे हो, sir? Now you can't hear me. Now you can't hear me. But let me get Mr. Madan to respond to this. I'm sure, Mr. Madan, you can hear me because this entire country can hear me, and this country will respond. Is this acceptable that a fellow Indian stands up? Because I can understand under a Muhammad Yunus regime, you have hostile Bangladeshis who may want to cut us off at chicken's neck. The Pakistanis may want to cut us off chicken neck. China may want to create trouble in the Siliguri corridor area. But a fellow Indian is saying that. And we'll accept it.
I completely share your emotion. I second that. I mean, if these statements are true, indeed, if these statements, there is no manipulation, there is no tampering, etc. I, totally agree with you. No second thoughts about it, that, this is a very, very, serious statement. But having said that, all I would say is that our system works. We have a constitution, we have a judicial system. There would be a trial. All these things needs to be proved during the course of the trial. It is
Absolutely.
only once all these videos, audios are proved before the court, then only you can, draw a conclusion. At this point in time, prima facie, I agree with you. If this, statement was correct, if there is no tampering with the video, if there is no manipulation with the audio, then yes, it is, an extremely, extremely serious situation.
I'll get
But having
Srishti,
said
I'll get
that, that
Srishti
needs
to
be
respond to
tested
that.
during the
But
course of the
before I
trial.
bring in Srishti, I want Raghav Avasthi, for a legal perspective. Because for someone who's covered Pakistan state-sponsored radical Islamist terror in this country for decades, seriously, we don't want elements in our country who will bleed us from within when you are battling the enemy across your border. And when that enemy wants to exploit elements within our country, we cannot afford this, sir. We just cannot afford this. And you cannot afford to be lenient with such elements. Raghav Avasthi.
The Pakistani security and military doctrine is quite clear. They feel that they are the real India, and what they want is to somehow ensure that India as it is vivisected into 1,000 pieces. Their policy has been since Zia-ul-Haq's time to bleed India through 1,000 cuts. And although I have the greatest respect for Mr. Madan, whom I have seen in court argue very well on many occasions on the original side of the Delhi High Court, which is where I also practice, I am really surprised, unpleasantly so, that he would choose to be equivocal in his condemnation. I can't understand as to how he can say that this video needs to be proved before any action should be taken. Such elements, I'll be really honest, are a danger to society. And the test under the constitution is quite clear. Yes, we do have freedom of speech in this country. Having said that, this freedom of speech does not extend, and those Article 19 Clause 2 also lays down parameters under which the freedom of speech can be curbed by way of authority of law. And one of those parameters is that you should not say something that affects the national integrity of our country. And ultimately, I will be very candid here. I have the greatest respect for Mr. Madan as a fellow professional. Having said that, when this cancer reaches all of our homes, it is not as if his home will be spared. And from what I see, he is a very good lawyer with a very good rising practice.
Since you've specifically named him, Mr. Madan, please respond, sir. I want to bring in Srishti and Atikur Rahman into this conversation, but Mr. Madan, go on, sir.
So, I will just respond, in law, in our, judicial system, unfortunately, emotions does not drive things. It is the evidence, it is the process, it is the procedure which drives things. There is a procedures by which I clearly understand, and I echo, emotions of my good friend here. But unfortunately, emotions are not evidence. You can't, use emotions in place of evidence. You will have to lead evidence. You will have to prove all these things before you pronounce someone guilty. Maybe Mr. Avasthi doesn't like it. I mean, we can't help it, but that's the process of the law.
Fair enough. Fair
Can
enough.
I come in? I just
Srishti,
want to bring, to respond to the point of evidence. I'll just come in for a moment, right?
Sir, 30 seconds,
if
because I
there
have to
is a
bring in Srishti and Atikur Rahman.
If there is a video then of course, whoever has recorded the video will have to be examined. Having said that, there are many cases. For example, when there are objectionable posts that are aired, that are deleted quite regularly by the courts. Because prima facie, if you manage to show that the level of proof is so good that there is nothing that is left to be proved at trial,
Fair
then
enough.
of
Let me get
course,
Srishti. Let me get
interim
Srishti.
directions are passed in
Yes.
civil as well as criminal cases.
Srishti, does the police have corroborative evidence? Because this is all subject to verification. Every man is innocent until proven guilty. Is process the punishment here, or are there serious evidences of, which corroborate that the attempt was to break our country into pieces? Point one. Point two, when they talk about foreign elements, regime change, is there any evidence of money trail? Who were these foreigners? What was the dealing that was happening in all of this?
Well, Gaurav, as you pointed out earlier, whether some of us may agree with some of the statements they've made, some of us may think the statements were wrong, some of us may think that the statements are right. At the end of the day, it is the court which will eventually decide whether or not they were guilty. It is the Supreme Court in this case presently that will decide whether or not they will get bail, that's something that we'll also have to see. It will be crucial because if the Supreme Court also sides with the prosecution, that will be extremely favorable. But if we talk about the laymen or the citizens in general, what do they look at? As of now, the biggest thing that goes in the favor of the prosecution, other than the evidence that they have, are the high court orders, the previous trial court orders, which have favored the prosecution's case and have gone against the accused. The aspect of delay, which has been a constantly debated and discussed point as far as the Delhi riots case is concerned, the pace of the trial in the riots conspiracy case has been a recurring point of criticism. Several accused have spent years in jail, yes,
Yes.
but the prosecution has time and again claimed that the delay has not been made on their side. There has been criticism that there have been repeated changes in trial court benches, which are again procedural aspects. Bail applications have been heard by multiple benches of the High Court. It's all these developments that have for long now fueled the claims that trial has been unduly delayed. But what's very important here, and a very important thing that goes in the favor of prosecution and against the accused, at least as of now, are the High Court's observations. The High Court
Okay.
has made very strong observations as far as, and they've backed the prosecution's case. In fact, as far as the aspect of delay in trial is concerned, clearly stating that most of the delay in this case has been because of the accused. In fact, going to the extent in saying that there are accused who are on bail, who are on purpose trying to delay the trial, which is impacting those who are behind the bars. As far as the evidence that the Delhi police is relying on, we did break the story even today morning. Over 10,000
Yes.
pages of annexures that the Delhi police will be relying on even before the Supreme Court in this case. According to them, they have all the documentary and the technical evidence that is required. WhatsApp chats that we've seen them relying on
Yes.
in trial courts and high courts. So they're definitely
So
going to put a strong case forward, and we'll see what
the
the Supreme
last
Court
30
has to
seconds
say.
I have on this part of the show, Atikur Rahman, if this time you can hear me, put your hand on your heart and tell me, sir, is it okay for any Indian to say, chicken's neck ko kaat do, fly karne do northeast ko, when you look at what we are facing in India's northeast with hostile neighbors? Atikur Rahman.
Gaurav, I can put my hand on my heart and say I have deeply studied all these circumstances, and I could say, as a student, as a lecturer in political science, I have seen so many protests in the India as developed. George Fernandez days, the days of the Vajpayee, this thing, how they used to protest against in the Congress time, and I could bet this particular trial will be proving that innocent people have been, put behind bars for such a long time, and it's the arbitrariness of the state which is working towards all these factions of the people. There is no communal angle as far as I am concerned. I am just saying that the Constitution of India guarantees individual rights. I can say anything against the state. The state cannot be arbitrary. The state can guide me. And I have full faith in
सर
the
यही शायद
judiciary in
अलग अलग
India.
सोच
I
है,
will not be
क्योंकि एक
supporting
तिरंगे की आन
anything
बान
which
शान के
could
लिए, एक तिरंगे की आन बान शान के लिए वो अपना सर कटा देते हैं. You know, our braves, they make the supreme sacrifice of their lives for the honor of this motherland. When we say Janani Janma Bhumischa Swargadapi Gariyasi, that your mother and your motherland are greater than heaven. But perhaps that is the Indian philosophy of this land that some people do not understand, sir. And it is high time they understand the philosophy of this land. Because in this land, sir, our mother and our motherland are God. They are God for us, sir. And that is something that I think every Indian would understand who believes in the dharma of this land. I will let that be the last word on this part of the show, and we'll be tracking the story very, very closely. India kicked off Exercise Trishul 2025 today. It's a major tri-services military drill. It involves the Army, the Navy and the Air Force across Gujarat and Rajasthan. So Exercise Trishul continues in phases and it will continue till the 10th of November. High-end participation by tri-services. The Army has its T-90 Bhishma tanks, the BrahMos supersonic cruise missiles, the Akash air defense missile system, the Prachand attack helicopters, and of course the Air Force with their Rafales and the Su-30 MKIs with the BrahMos supersonic cruise missiles. There's also the Sea Guardian and the Heron drones that are a part of this exercise. And when you talk about the Navy, you have the Kolkata class destroyers, the Nilgiri class frigates, and the fast attack crafts. And that marks Indian Navy's participation in the tri-services exercise. The drills come after Defense Minister Rajnath Singh's clear warning to a state sponsor of radical Islamist terror that if it doesn't mend its ways, then a road to Karachi passes through the creek. I quickly now want to bring in India Today's Sandeep Punnithan for more on this story. Sandeep, the scope of any exercise is extremely crucial. Strategic significance of Exercise Trishul and that too, the timing of this exercise. How does this drill enhance India's joint operations? We saw them during Operation Sindoor, but land, air and sea domain. And now, of course, you have 5 domains of operations.
Well, Gaurav, Trishul 2025 is one of the most significant military exercises in recent years. It is a tri-services exercise, which means it combines the Army, the Navy and the Air Force. They're concentrated in a region near Gujarat, near the Pakistan border there, India's southwestern flanks with Pakistan. It comes 6 months after Operation Sindoor, an operation that is still ongoing. And this is India signaling to Pakistan that no military adventurism will be tolerated, especially in areas like Kutch. We've seen that in the past, 1965, when Pakistan tried to deflect India's attention by striking at Kutch, which they saw as a window of opportunity. This is India signaling that it is fully prepared to meet any Pakistani adventurism by deploying the Navy, the Army and the Air Force. These assets will be deployed there for the next 10, 12 days. You're going to see Sukhoi fighter jets, Rafale fighter aircraft, Kolkata class destroyers, Indian naval submarines, special forces, and of course a full division of the Indian Army backed by tanks and self-propelled artillery. These exercises focused in and around Gujarat and Rajasthan are meant to test the readiness of the Indian armed forces to repel any
constant readiness of the Indian armed forces as the government says Operation Sindoor is still on. Sandeep, many thanks for joining me. But I also want to talk about the internal security aspect. So on the eve of Rashtriya Ekta Divas, there's a political flashpoint over Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the Iron Man of India's legacy. Independent India's first Home Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, Sardar Patel, the man who unified India. So Union Home Minister Amit Shah, he's accused the Congress party of trying to erase Sardar Patel's legacy from history, saying India's Iron Man was denied his due for decades after independence. Speaking in Patna, ahead of Sardar Patel's 150th birth anniversary, Amit Shah credited Prime Minister Narendra Modi for honoring Sardar Patel with the Statue of Unity and announced that a national parade will now be held every 31st October along with a nationwide run for unity. And of course, celebrations that expand with the 15-day Ek Bharat Parv in Ekta Nagar. Amit Shah also recalled Sardar Patel's role in integrating princely states and securing India's borders.
दुर्भाग्य की बात है कि आजादी के बाद सरदार पटेल के निधन के बाद सरदार पटेल को भुलाने में कांग्रेस पार्टी ने कोई कसर नहीं छोड़ी।
On the eve of Rashtriya Ekta Divas, Union Home Minister Amit Shah launched a blistering political attack on the Congress, accusing it of systematically sidelining Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's legacy. Speaking in Patna ahead of Patel's 150th birth anniversary, Shah said India's Iron Man, who unified more than 550 princely states after independence, did not receive his rightful honor until 41 years after his death.
सरदार जैसे महान व्यक्तित्व को भी भारत रत्न मिलने में 41 साल की देरी हुई और वो देरी केवल और केवल कांग्रेस के सरदार के प्रति एक विशिष्ट अभाव के कारण रही।
Shah highlighted that it was Prime Minister Narendra Modi who gave Sardar Patel true respect, crediting the BJP government for building the Statue of Unity in Ekta Nagar.
जब नरेंद्र मोदी जी गुजरात के मुख्यमंत्री बने तब उन्होंने स्टैच्यू ऑफ यूनिटी की रचना की और एक भव्य स्मारक जो पूरे विश्व में आज प्रसिद्ध हो चुका है वो सरदार पटेल के स्मारक बनाने का काम नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने किया।
The Home Minister announced that a grand national parade will now take place every year on October 31st, similar in scale to the Republic Day parade.
गृह मंत्रालय ने ये भी तय किया है कि आज के बाद हर 31 अक्टूबर को इसी प्रकार की भव्य परेड का आयोजन होगा।
A run for unity will be held across states, districts, schools and police stations, with lakhs expected to take a unity pledge.
सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल की 185 जन्म जयंती पर बड़े स्तर पर इस बार गुजरात के केवड़िया में भव्य समारोह यहां पर किया जा रहा है एकता परेड की। तस्वीरों में आप देख रहे हैं कि किस तरीके से जो अर्धसैनिक बलों के जवान हैं, इसके साथ साथ जो पैरामिलिट्री फोर्स और जो राज्यों की पुलिस है वो तमाम पुलिस जो है इस परेड में शामिल हो रही है। और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि इस बार राष्ट्रीय एकता परेड को बड़े स्तर पर मनाया जा रहा है।
Beyond the October 31st parade, a 15-day Ek Bharat Parv will take place from November 1 to 15th in Ekta Nagar, celebrating tribal culture ahead of Birsa Munda Jayanti. Shah also recounted Patel's decisive role in integrating Hyderabad and Junagadh and securing Lakshadweep for India on August 15, 1947.
जब पूरा देश 15 अगस्त को तिरंगा फहराने में व्यस्त था, तब सरदार पटेल कमांड रूम में नेवल ऑफिसरों के साथ एक ऑपरेशन मॉनिटर कर रहे थे, जिसके कारण ही आज लक्षद्वीप भारत का हिस्सा बना है और हमारी दक्षिणी सीमा बहुत मजबूत हुई है।
As the nation prepares to mark Rashtriya Ekta Divas, the government is positioning the 150th birth anniversary as a moment to reaffirm national unity. Bureau Report, India Today.